Ali has the call.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. Those opposite do not support regional Australians, despite all the hype and the bluster. It appears Labor is focused on investing in infrastructure in their own seats or those they think might have a chance of winning. Round 6 of the Mobile Black Spot program is a testament to that, and I have the Minister for Communications right here having a chat with her. It targeted funding to Labor seats as election commitments. In fact, 74% of the grants went to electorates that vote red or might vote red. This is despite Labor only representing 1/3 of regional electorates in the nation. In Victoria, Labor seats McEwen, Bendigo, Corangamite all benefited from the Communication Minister's hand-picked funding. There was no funding for Mallee, no funding for for Nichols, and none for Gippsland. None even for the independently held Indi. Yesterday in question time, the member for Bendigo and the member for Ballarat, also Minister for Infrastructure, Transport, Regional Development and Local Government, waxed lyrical over their government delivering for the regions. They talked up the cities of Bendigo and Ballarat, the cities in their seats. They forget about more than half the land area of Victoria that includes cities like Mildura in my electorate, Warrnambool, Shepparton, Wodonga and Traralgon. Regional Victoria and Australia are waiting with bated breath to hear the results of the Labor's 90-day infrastructure review Razor Gang, which is now up to 110. It has been more than the 100 days since it was announced, but where is it? Which projects are getting axed? In Mallee, the Swan Hill community are waiting to find out whether the axe will fall on a $60 million project the former coalition government committed to for a bridge across the Murray River. Now, this has been held up by state governments and heritage listings and all kinds of other reasons. It was not under the coalition that it was held up. It's because of other reasons, and yet here we find that project, which has been promised for years to the people of Swan Hill, is in the axing. We're waiting to hear. Deputy Speaker, in the south of my electorate, the people of Wimmera are still waiting for the duplication of the Western Highway between Ararat and Stawell and the Horsham Roundabout as well, all subject to the Minister's Razor Gang. I have spoken to one of my regional councils this week who, due to a Victorian decision to axe the Regional Infrastructure Fund because his council now cannot access federal Labor government's Growing Regions program. How does that work? Well, this federal Labor government, like Labor every time they get in, has matched funding of 50-50 with state governments. Now that the Victorian government has axed their regional infrastructure fund, it means that communities cannot access any funding. Where does that leave us for the next 3 years?
High and dry.
Absolutely high and dry. It's an absolute disgrace. Growing regions may fund projects up to $500,000 and $15 million, but councils are required to fund the 50-50. The Andrews government has slashed their the only possibility for most councils in my electorate to access any funding at all. Councils nationwide, including those in Mallee, can get a 90% Commonwealth contribution only if they have been affected by natural disasters like recent floods. But guess what the caveat is? It can only be projects where the site was rolled over with flood. It is not for replacing roads and footpaths in the region, which is desperately needed. I have one council this week who came to see me and said that they have a total budget of $12 million. $12 million for all the people that they care for. They have 5,000 kilometres of road. Please tell me, Deputy Speaker, how is that government, how is that council going to repair any of that roadway? This leaves regional communities absolutely desperate. It's not a wonder that our roads are still full of potholes, and under the Labor government, that is going to remain. Do I have to tell my local communities that that is the outcome? It is appalling. If, in their first budget, this federal Labor government has cut more than $10 billion in regional programs, highlighted by the axing of the highly successful Building Better Regions Fund and the local roads and community infrastructure funding, I have had councils nearly weep on my shoulder about the cutting of that fund because it was the only way they could build the projects that are so important to their community.